Hello, hi everyone. So in today's video I want to share with you all the books I read in the month of June. Yes, I know you know it's July and literally August is right here, okay? And I'm sharing with you the books I read in June. It's all good, you know. The thing with TBRs or June wrap-ups, they never expire, you know. We can share them whenever, right? So anyways, you guys, so if that's of interest to you, don't go anywhere.
Subscribe, hit that button, let's grow together. Share with your friends through any kind of weather. Library without borders, we're reaching for the sky. Join the journey now, come on, don't be shy.
Alright, Jambo, Karibu, welcome to my channel. My name is Chilanda and this is Library Without Borders. So you can tell that the lighting is different, and the reason why is because I haven't turned on my ring light, and the reason for that is simply because I want this look, right? But I don't want the glare of the ring light in my glasses. So I don't know, are you guys okay to like watch me with this lighting, or there? But then we have to deal with the ring light. Unless I do this. If I do this, I think I'm okay. I'm gonna have to like talk to you guys like this. But you know, let's just go. Okay, you guys, so you probably saw me rocking this shirt in my TBR video that I just finished filming for August. And that's because I decided that I'm gonna like do all these videos tonight. Like I'm also working, like I'm actually working right now. So you're probably gonna see this shirt one more time. I have about 2 more videos to go through, actually 3, maybe 4, but we'll see how the night unfolds. All right, so anyways, you guys, how you been? How have you been doing? Yes, I cut my hair. I've already explained it in my TBR video, but it is what it is, okay? I miss my hair, and as you can see, I haven't really I haven't really freshened up the haircut, simply because I'm debating if I should keep my haircut for like a year, basically buzz the side and keep this like, you know, look, or let it grow. I don't know, I'm still undecided, but yeah. Also, you guys, I also talked about it in my August TBR. My birthday's coming up. What am I planning? Nothing. I'm only gonna be turning 38, inshallah, God willing, because you never know, right? So let's just get into this June wrap up, okay? And let me rub these books for you. So let's see how many books I read for the month of June. First of all, reading goals. I have been sort of completing. Here for June, I was supposed to read 8 books. Now, did I meet my goal? We'll find out. Okay, so far I've read 56 books, y'all. Y'all see this? Let me just show you. So these are all the books that I've read so far, right? 56 books. And my goal, I think I said 1 to 5 for the year. We'll see if I will meet the goal, but you know, no stress, no pressure, because we're reading for pleasure, right? Pleasure, no pressure. Oh, damn! I like that. Okay, let's see. How many books did I read for June? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What? I mean, I read 8 books. I am shocked. In June, I read 8 books. Probably like a lot of those were not on my TBR, and I think 2 of those were mystery books, because remember June was the month of was Caribathon, right, where we're supposed to read books set in the Caribbean, and I did that. And believe it or not, there was also a what is it called, a queer story that I also found myself reading in the month of June. So for Pride Month, you can say I kind of met that prompt. So let's go through them without further ado. So here's the pile of the books that I read, and I know some of them are on audio, obviously, and I'll just put the pictures of them once I go through them. So first, I actually started reading this book. Guys, it's been June. I don't know if I recall them, but let me just take my notes. So it was The Mandela Plot by Kenneth Bonnard. Okay. So let me just tell you real quick. When I first picked up this book, Mandela, y'all know I love Mandela, South Africa, you know, it had all the things I thought, you know, it was supposed to be about. So when I started reading this book, I realized the author not only is not black, he's white and Jewish. Okay, so maybe correct me. I know Jewish people probably do not consider themselves white, and white Europeans don't consider Jewish people white, but when you look at their skin, but okay, that's not, but the whole point is that he's not black, and I thought it was a black author. Okay, so when I first started reading this book, I was like, fuck, oh, so much for reading a black author in South Africa. And that's what I've discovered, and I think I've mentioned that when I want to read books that are set in South Africa, it's one of those where I do want to read black authors, but then it's a white author, because South Africa is just that saturated, convoluted with the different races, you know. But anyway, so let's see, 1980s South Africa and Martin Hegler. So Martin is Jewish living in South Africa during apartheid. He meets an American girl who introduces him to the world beyond. He's 16, going to a Jewish school, and has no friends. For the rest of the story, we follow Martin on a mission to help fight apartheid while being hunted by the family nemesis. So that's what I wrote as a summary for the book. So Martin is 16, living in this segregated place where only Jewish people live, right? It's apartheid. He's living quite, you know, the luxurious family. I mean, they're Jewish. Y'all know wherever Jewish people are. So this American girl, she comes to live with them. She came, I guess, to teach at a school in South Africa. But what you're gonna discover is that she's just not this innocent American girl. And as the story unfolds, you follow her showing the 16-year-old Martin the outside of his compound. Because where they are, they never have to face what's going on to the blacks in South Africa during apartheid. And that one day, she's like, you know, they're having a conversation, and she's like, you're so innocent, you live in a small world, you don't even know what's going on. And then, so let's go. So he goes and shows her the slums, the way South Africans live in the most disgusting circumstances. And this kid is like, you know, he's like traumatized. And then not only that, he gets accosted by a soldier, and this soldier is South African, he's black. And this soldier begins to tell him his story. But at the same time, there's another white soldier, white military, who also talks to Martin. And what he finds out, remember, during that time, whites and blacks did not mix, let alone eat in the same circle. But this white military was German. Yes, remember, Martin is Jewish. This soldier is German. And he's like talking to him and blah, blah, blah. And you could tell that he's a very menacing character. Long story short, he decides that he needs to bring Martin back to the Jewish compound, because he's not supposed to be there. And if you were found there, you could actually be either arrested, jailed, or something bad could have happened to you. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna do you a favor, I'm gonna bring you home. And he finds out, the military finds out that Martin is actually a name that he knows and that his family has hated since his father. There's a whole history between the Hegler and this military German guy, and Hegler didn't know that. And him finding himself in that part of the town is literally the thing that will set series of events into motion, where he will not come back from it unscathed. Let me just tell you that by the time I was like 25% in the book, I was in the book. Like, it was action packed. I mean, there was action. Like, there was killing. There was like, your heart is pounding, especially with this German that was now, at some point, he was hunting Martin once he discovered who he was, and just decided to hunt the family and the things that happened to the family. And the end, oh my gosh, the end. I don't want to spoil for you guys, but I need to tell you that y'all need to read this book. Martin has a brother but the family hasn't heard about the brother. And the brother was involved in, I think he was part of a plan to help the movement that was there to dismantle apartheid and basically help Mandela, or he was there to hunt Mandela, one of those. But he was recruited by the government, and he's ever since then he's disappeared. But he does reappear in Martin Life later on in the story. But guys, when I tell you the end, it was like a movie. I was like, how did you do this? It was amazing. And I think I gave this a 4-star, y'all. I did a 4-star. Right there you can see the Mandela plot. 4-star. It was actually a very interesting book. And let me just share with you a few quotes, because y'all know I like to do that, because I could talk about this book over and over and over, and oh my gosh, like, whew. And nothing develops between her and the girl, because you know she's a bit older and he's 16, but he does have feelings for her, but things happen. Okay, but y'all gotta find out by yourself. Let me just see what I can share here with you. The government wasn't interested in talking reason, only domination, white supremacy, apartheid. Sounds familiar? Okay. That blacks should be serfs in their own land, so the ANC switched to a policy of armed resistance, and Nelson Mandela, he was the first leader of their fighting wing called Umkhonto Wesizwe, Spear of the Nation. But I think I just, tabbed that because I wanted to talk to you about the whole mention of white supremacy and all that stuff. You can never escape it. You can never escape white supremacy, I'm telling you. Before I didn't understand, then I saw those trees and I grasped it. How when they came here, the whites, the Europeans, they put thousands and even millions of their own kinds of trees into our soil in order to make it like where they are coming from, to take this place and convert it to something else that is like their homes. So that's the soldier, the black South African soldier that's talking to Martin when they finally are running away from the slums where the American girl brought him. Basically there was a raid, and you see that part, like she brings them to like school or like where these people are living, and like I said, slums, and I could even smell the everything, defecation, everything through the pages, like the way the author was describing. And then there's a raid, the soldiers are literally setting like a South African, like a young one, and the dogs on them, only to shoot him. Like it was so savage, guys. Ugh, that scene. So anyways, so the American girl is not who she is, by the way, okay? So she's the one who brings him to that South African soldier. And again, without spoiling the story for you guys, she came to South Africa from the United States in order to dismantle this whole apartheid. And the way she was supposed to do it was basically showing this video to black South Africa of how to make bombs. I've said too much, but there. So you can tell that she is not who she is, okay? So anyway, so that speech was from this black South Africa talking about his life, basically explaining his life to Martin, the innocent, who has no idea of what it is, of what life is outside of his Jewish compound. Maybe 2 more, let's see. I remembered everything without trying. My mother was religious, and even before school she taught me literacy because she wanted me to read the Bible, wanted me to be a pastor, a bishop one day. But my father said I should learn to read only so that I can understand the whites, the enemy. My mother wanted me to love my enemy like Jesus, but my father didn't believe in Jesus. He said Jesus was another white man. He used to lie there with his bad leg up and he would drink. We didn't have money for pain medicines. But anyways, yeah, his story was so tragic. Let's see. The fat man in the restaurant drinking the wine from the crystals with soft, clean tablecloth. I'm living here down in the rubbish pit. Why? Because I am black. Only because I am black. But I didn't choose my skin. Why must I be punished for my skin, which is not anything I did to anyone? Yeah, y'all can just see how deep. I started to understand my situation inside politics, what the political system is. The system of capitalist domination of the planet. Everything in the hands of a few rich, and all the rest are just slaves. That's how they say. I don't know if it meant slaves, but that's how they write it. SLEVS, slaves, to labor for them and steal for them the minerals of the lands. Yo, let's see. Two more. Who is this? I think this is the white German who's talking. Here we have got the real tribes of Africa with the spears and the witch doctors and the real spells, man. Africa is war and survival, and that is all. No, I think that's the dad. That's the dad having a conversation with the American girl. Oh, this is where he says, blacks. Who else? Who else are we talking? Chinese? You cannot just turn a modern country over to them. They have to be built up first and educated proper before they're ready to run it. It takes years and years to develop a first world country, man. I'm sorry. That's my land. Like, who are you to tell me how? Y'all, there were some parts I was just like, okay, I can't deal with it. Here, it matters everything. It matters everything. We are Jews here in this country, and we are a tiny drop in the bucket here, and we do not belong to that side or this side. My only responsibility is for us, my family, and my people who I am born to. That's enough. That's Jewish people. Y'all understand? They're there for only them, not for Africans. If whites get comfortable living with apartheid, why would they change it, Martin? They've had it too easy for too long. It's time they got a taste of their own damn medicine. That's the American girl. And what was shocking was that this American girl was talking about apartheid during the time where there was that whole, there was civil unrest in the United States, There was also segregation, and she leaves the United States to be the white savior in apartheid South Africa. Go figure. But this is a fantastic book. Like I said, you have social commentaries about Jewish people, about South Africans people, about Africans and white Europeans and Americans, and yeah. Okay, next. Okay, guys, I'm not even going to talk about this book, but to that lovely subscriber who suggested this book, I think it's set in Algeria. I don't know, but this book was actually recommended by one of my subscribers, and I went into it open-minded, but I have to tell you, I wasn't too much a fan of it. I don't even remember. I think it's a couple of short stories. I think there's 6 short stories. Let me see what I wrote about it, because yeah, I can't remember. It didn't stick with me. 7 empty houses. Okay, 7 different stories. One particular that stood out to me was the older lady who lived with her husband. She was sick. She kept complaining about a kid coming onto her property. But was the kid really there, or was it a ghost? Why was she seeing him? That's what I wrote. My review. That was the plot summary. I'm not sure I appreciated the book. I thought the stories were strange, and I don't know what I expected, but I'm sure there were lessons to be learned from these stories. That's all I could find, you guys. But yeah, the one short story was about this old lady who lived in a peculiar home, and she kept seeing things disappear in her house. And she would call her husband, and her husband would be like, what disappear? And he was friendly to this kid that would come into her house, and even at night she would hear this kid and she would see this kid, and she didn't know why she was seeing this kid. And at some point she goes to her neighbor's house, who happens to be the mother of that kid, and she's like, well, your kid keeps coming into my house. And he's like, and the mom is like, she's looking at her like, are you crazy? What are you talking about? Now, I don't want to spoil for you guys, but y'all heard what I said when I was reading the plot summary. Is the kid really there? Or was she seeing things? But that's it. Like I said, there were some strange stories there. Yeah, Samantha Schweblin, 7 Empty Houses. So it was translated by Megan McDowell. I don't know, but I think it was 2.75 out of 5 for me. So would I recommend? I said maybe. And then I read The Final Wife by Jenny Blackhurst. Now that was on Audible, so it's a thriller. What did I say? So Luke with Anna, and then Rebecca, and then there's Pepper, and then there's somebody. Anna confesses to killing Luke, but as the story progresses, you find that Luke was not an innocent victim. Rose, the ex-wife, didn't just accept the divorce. Who is Peppa? That's what I wrote. So I said it was an okay thriller. So The Final Wife, as I said, it was a free read on Audible, and Luke, it's actually in the summary, is dead. and he has an ex-wife, a current wife, and then a girlfriend. And you basically follow the story to find out who killed Luke, because someone does confess. The current wife confesses, was Anna. And while I was listening to the Audible, you do listen to different narratives from the different characters. You also listen from, I think, yeah, Pepper is the girlfriend, and you also listen from the police. But yeah, I said it was an okay thriller. It's a thriller, y'all. There's not much you can do, and it's a 275. It's a 275 out of 5. Then I read The Dating Playbook. And what did I say? So just to recall, it's by Farah Rochon. Taylor is a fitness instructor. Jamar is a college football player. Jamar seeks out Taylor so she can train him after a knee accident. The goal is to go back into the NFL, but Jamal is not prepared to let the world know. So when, out of the blue, Taylor and Jamar meet a reporter, both him and Taylor decide to fake date in order to keep the truth. So that's what I wrote, and then I like the characters. That's my review. I thought Taylor was funny and vibrant. I like that the author threw in a disability rep story there. Jamar was patient and relatable. I enjoyed their chemistry. There wasn't too much body fusion. That's what I wrote. So yeah, it was nice. The date, I don't know what else I can tell you guys. It was cute. I enjoyed it. It was a fun, what is it? Fake date romance. So I would recommend. So sorry. It was 3 point, so it's a 3-star, 3.5, so yeah. And then I read Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. And I know one of my subscribers said that she wasn't too much of a fan of this story, but I disagree. I enjoyed the story. What did I say? Okay, when it comes to the Bennett family dynamic, I wish they would be more explicit when communicating what it is that they are trying to say. The pressure of family expectations is quite evident with how Bert handles the situation on Thanksgiving Day. Did Bert need to take the drastic decision he took, all in the name of love? I thought the story was interesting. I was a little taken aback whenever new characters were introduced. They serve a purpose by the time the story ended. It was sad at times, but I enjoyed the historical travels through the islands. Favorite character, Pearl. And I said favorite quote, tradition has sometimes told us that only certain kinds of people should study certain subjects. So let's see, we have the story of Byron and Benny, who are siblings. They're somewhere in the islands. Was that Jamaica? They're somewhere in the island. A traditional Caribbean clay cake. No, I can't remember. I'm thinking it's Jamaica. But so yeah, so they're living in the United States, right? And then they are called back to their parents' house because the mom has passed away. And then there is this traditional black cake and a few letters that the mom has left to the kids. And lo and behold, they're sitting down with the lawyer, who's basically saying that these letters, you need to go through these letters, and before sharing this cake, they have to read the letter, and then they're gonna eat the cake. They're gonna know when to partake in that black cake. I love the going back into time because we learn about Benny and Byron's mother, who she was, what she went through. She's half Chinese and half Caribbean, and something happens when she was young because her dad was Chinese, had a business, but then he also was a gambler, and he gambled the money, and then the mom kind of left. What was her name? I think it's Ellie, because she does change her name. You guys who read the book, you guys know. But yeah, her mother, Byron and Benny. So B and B. I'm gonna say B and B because in the book the siblings are referred to as B and B because they have the same first initial letter. So B and B's mom, when her mom left her with her father, she was supposed to come back and retrieve Ellie. I think her name is Ellie. It's been a while since I read beginning of June, mid-June. And but unfortunately the mom doesn't come back, so she's basically raised by this, I think she's a helper in the house, And one day, because of her dad's mistakes, he couldn't hold his business and he got into trouble, basically owing money to like this gangster in the Caribbean. And as such, as a repayment, he basically offers his daughter to this gangster. And from that point on, you discover the different events that will happen in Ellie's life, all the way to there's a big secret, and you discover why. But just a little bit of what Ellie went through. She was able to escape that wedding to that gangster that was way older as well. She escaped somewhere. Was it London? Yeah. And then she had to completely change her identity. So I'm not gonna say much more because you guys, I know some of you read, you guys know what I'm talking about, you know the parts I'm talking about. And when I say change her identity, not just once, more than once, okay? But in those letters, she explains why. And you can just imagine for the children what it is to discover that your mom is not who she is. It's not the mom, she's not the mother that you grew up with. But you also will understand come the end, or once they have gone through those letters, why she did what she had to do, and like leaving almost like all her loved ones behind because her life at some point was in danger, right? So yeah, I thought I enjoyed the book. It was a good book. And I rated this book 3-star. I rated the book 3-star. So yeah, Black Cake, you have it there. So yeah, this was for Caribathon, but I also read another book that was actually part of the mystery book. It was The Hungry Ghosts by Kevin Jared Hossein. I read this book for Caribathon as well, so I read 2 books. And this one I actually listened to it on audio, but I went back to the book because I wanted to like highlight some parts. But yeah, so essentially, let's see what I wrote about this book. We have multiple black families living in what is called the barracks. The place is without electricity. Water seeps through the dilapidated roof. We have Krishna, Sweta, Hans, and Marley, whose life becomes intertwined when Marley's husband goes missing. Set against the post-colonial era in 1940 Trinidad. That's what I said. So my review. I struggled with the audio. The story was painful and how it depicted Trinidad post-war. Krishna, one of the main characters in the story, was a strong-willed boy. Marley and Hans were a typical couple who faced hardships and tragedy, ultimately resulting in the demise of their relationship. So yeah, you guys, so you have these families who are living in the barracks, and the barracks, the way it's described, it's like slums, you know what I mean? Y'all know, again, colonization, after slavery, reconstruction, all that stuff. And you have Marley's white, and she lives in this nice house. Her husband disappears overnight, and what would literally set different events will be her seeking out the help of Hans. Hans is this black guy, Trinidadian, and he's the father of Krishna. And he will go work for her, and basically her excuse is that she doesn't feel safe and she wants him to kind of sleep there and be her protector. But then Sweta is not happy with that because she has, he's married to her and they have a son. And Sweta's story is so sad because, she had a kid, a baby, and something tragic happens, and it's just left her very mournful and very melancholic about life. And she has also this way of talking to Hans, like, you need to go to work, we need to leave this house, this shack, so that we can go into a house. And Han is feeling that pressure. So when Marley's offering him the job of protector and money that he's never seen, he's like, yeah, why not? And he talks to Sweta, and Sweta's like, I don't know, but she kind of has no choice. Apart from that, we have Krishna, who's this young boy who also kind of is unhappy with the way their lives is with their lives, the state of their lives. And he's like, he doesn't want to go to school because, you know, school is not really the solution to their misery. And Han tells him, no, you got to stay in school. And there are also these boys who keep coming after Krishna and his cousin. And one day things will boil. And like I said, tragedy will occur. But you also just read about how life was with Europeans and Trinidadians who were no longer servants to the whites, you know. Although they were no longer, you could still feel the tension between whites and blacks. And that will come through a story of this white man who went looking for a prostitute in, you know, somewhere like there in Trinidad, and he forgot his gun, and the prostitute, who was a black Trinidadian, decided to take that gun and, I don't know, did what she had to do. And when you hear about how he just unalived her and people knew and nothing was done, just tells you of how whites have gone away with the murder of black bodies from the beginning of time till now, like just gone away without consequences, without repercussions, like that. So anyways, like I said, Hungry Ghosts, it was a good story. How did I not rate it? Oh, I didn't rate it, you guys. What? So it's actually a 3-star. It was good. I would recommend it. Yeah, I said, yeah, would you recommend the book? I said yes, there you could see. So yes, I would recommend it. So it's gonna be a 3-star. I'm gonna fix that right now. So there you have it. So that was part of the mystery book. And then the other mystery book was Zeal. So Zeal is actually a new release. That's part of my, you know, my list of new release books to read this year. And I enjoyed that book. It was really good. And it's by Morgan Jerkins. I'll put the picture here. It's historical fiction. And it's a multi-generational story spanning over 150 years that follows Harrison and Tirzah. Yeah, Tirzah. Their children and other relatives through their love, betrayal, tragedy, enslavement, and many trials. Many of the characters, although a product of their time, were truly flawed and loved the wrong person. So whoever read Zeal, y'all know who I'm talking about. So there was Tirzah's son. No, it's not Tirzah's son, y'all. No. Yeah, I don't have the book here, so it's gonna be really hard for me to talk about these stories because it's a lot of characters. We follow, like I said, different generations, right? Till like the generation of the people who went through COVID, and we end the story with them. But yeah, if we begin the story with Harrison and Tirzah, they never got to meet each other. Like they were together during slavery, and then Harrison went, I think, for war, and Tirzah stayed in another part of town, and they couldn't come together because I guess there was just no way to reach each other. And she falls in love with a different guy, and he loves a different woman. And of those two unions, the two children are gonna find out. Okay, and I don't want to be confused, y'all, but like I said, it was a good story, and it was good. It was really good. It was a 4-star. It was a 4-star for me, and I said I enjoyed each love relationships and their intricacies. I saw some growth in certain characters while others fell from grace. I like the part of Ardelia and it not being so distant in the past. I guess that's the one who was living during COVID. I relish the part where Tirzah takes matters in her own hands at a time when they couldn't so much look at a white man. Something that Tirzah does is very unlikely, but very also likely, you know. I mean, those who read Zeal, you know what I'm talking about. When she took the gun and just blasted somebody. Y'all know how I jumped as a, yes, girl. Yes, girl. But yeah, so I'm actually going to buy the book. I really liked it. So that was the second mystery book. But I actually read another one because those are mystery book because they weren't part of the TBR, of my June TBR. I also read Junie by Erin Cosby Erskine. So it's also lit and fiction. Junie is a maid living on a plantation in the South. Described as dark-skinned, she lives there with her family. She cultivates a friendship with Violet, the daughter of the house. Soon after, Junie unearthed a jewelry that belonged to her dead sister, right after things start to happen that will propel June into the unknown. So I actually finished not too long ago, so it's still fresh in my mind. But yeah, it really was a good story. It's a 4-star. I rated a 4-star. It had obviously supernatural elements to it because you heard me say that the sister was dead. So her sister being dead has forced Junie to face her reality and make a decision. All right. And the relationship with her Violet is that Violet is the mistress of the home. She's white, and they do have a friendship, which I guess it could happen during slavery time. I don't know. But here they're called maids. They're not really called enslaved, but they're called maids. And you hear comments of when Junie goes inside the house by others, I guess maids or enslaved people. They'll be like, you're too dark to be inside, because dark-skinned people were usually outside in plantations, where the light-skinned were inside. So those comments come back a lot. Let me just read my review here. I certainly enjoyed the historical aspects. I felt Junie's longing for freedom. I felt it. I did think she was headstrong, but it did serve her in the end. I enjoyed her blossoming relationship with Caleb, and the plot really pulled me in, and I was rooting for Junie. So yeah, I loved the relationship that she had with Caleb and how Caleb was patient. And stories like that always make me feel of how Black people were so strong together, how we had each other's back, because we knew that the world was against us and we only had one another. And the relationship between Caleb and Junie just reminded me of that. And it's sad because we no longer feel that way, right? We have forgotten the past, because if we truly remembered the past, we would not be so forgetful. We would be, but anyways, so it's a 4-star. I enjoyed the story, y'all. I would recommend definitely. And I think I went through it all, you guys. I think that conclude all the 8 books that I read, right? Let's just see. And let me just look at my list. I didn't talk about King of Ashes, and I read it. So what I just explained right now, when was that? So yeah, guys, I also read King of Ashes, and yeah, it was my first book, and it was part of my new release. I loved it, let me see. It was an audio, so please tell me I wrote it. King of Ashes. Let me just, please tell me. Tell me I wrote. No. How did I not write King of... This is bad, y'all. No, I did not write King of Ashes. I did not summarize it here. So now I have to remember, and I can't recall the name. Is it Roman? I think it's Roman, y'all. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Roman. And he lives in another state in the United States. He's very wealthy. He basically... I don't know if he's the middle person, but he knows how to make money that may not be like good money, right, into like legal... Is that legal money? You guys know what I'm trying to say. But anyways, it was a really good story. It was fast-paced, it was thrilling, it was full of action. Like from the beginning, middle to the end, it was like woo. And I cried, y'all. The end crushed me. But yeah, and he discovers that an accident happened to his dad, and his brother is in trouble. Okay, so he has to go back into a different state where his brother and his sister are, and this family are in charge, have operated a funeral home. No, is that a funeral home? No, a thing where they basically incinerate bodies, a crematory. There you go. A crematory factory. Yeah. So he goes back there, and he starts to discover that not only his brother is involved with the wrong people, like gangster, mafia, drug dealers, but his dad's accident may not have been an accident after all. So he's like, little brother, I'm gonna take care of this, okay? I know I know how money works. I can talk to them. They want money. I can explain to them how we can, come up to an understanding so we can pay your debts. But Roman will discover that these gangsters are not just gonna accept a one-time payment, right? And that will complicate matters for him. And at the same time, you see him start a relationship with the sister of the gangster that is supposedly after his family. Like, can you believe that? Like, why Roman, why? And yeah, guys, there's fighting, there's shooting, there's body being burned. And unfortunately, while trying to get his family out of this mess, he will find himself having to sacrifice certain people, and he says it, in order to save his family. You do what you gotta do, So I love the story. Like, the Audible, I read it like in 2 days. Like, I finished it so fast, and I was like, okay, that's why I actually have the essay copy, like this one, I wanted to read this one real quick because I discovered that after reading, King of Ashes, I was like, okay, S.A. Cosby is very good. Like, everybody said he was good, but like, he's good. So anyways, you guys, I think that concludes all the 8 books that I read for the month of June. That's it, you guys. That's it. And I know I rambled so much, but that's why y'all love me. If you like the video, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.